Hi everybody, it's Mr. Alqamoussi, and today we'll be reviewing our root words for Unit 4. The first word on our list is the root word side or size. Try to think of some words in English that contain the root word side or size. Do that now. The list you see here are all words that contain the root word side or size. Looking at this list of words or any other words that you might have come up with, try to decode or predict the most likely meaning of the root words side or size. Do that now. Side or size are root words that come to us from Latin, and they mean to kill or to cut off. Suicide is a word in English containing two roots, sui serving here as a suffix for self. Suicide is to kill oneself. By that logic, matricide, matri is a prefix here serving from a root word that means mother. Matricide is to kill one's own mother. Homicide comes from a root word we've seen before, from the prefix homo, which means same. Homicide is to kill an equal or someone who is the same. In other words, to kill another human being. Genocide contains the same root word from earlier from our last unit, gene meaning like genes as in the vocab word homogeneous. Geno means a group of people who share genes. Genocide is to kill a group of people. For example, the killing of Jews during the Holocaust, or any of the countless other atrocities that have occurred, where a group of people is killed just based on who they are. The next two words come from the word size, which means to cut off. To ostracize, ostra means to kick out, so to ostracize is to cut someone off from a group. If you are feeling left out from a group of friends who've decided to push you aside, you have been ostracized. And the next word, exercise, exert meaning to use force. To exercise is to use force to cut energy, basically to cut calories. So exercise means to exert the cutting off of force. The next word from our root word list is fill. Try to think of some root words or words in English that contain the root word fill. Do that now. All of the following words here contain the root word fill. Looking at the words on this list or any other words that you have come up with, try to predict or infer the most likely meaning of the root word fill. Do that now. Phil is a root word that comes to us from Greek, and it means love. A bibliophile is someone who loves books. Biblio here serving as a suffix is a root word that means books. A bibliophile is one who loves books. Philanthropy is a word used to describe people who give away enormous amounts of donations or do great acts of charitable works. Philanthropy contains two roots. Phil means to love, and anthro meaning people. A philanthropist or someone who practices philanthropy is someone who loves people. Speaking of love, a pedophile is someone who loves children. Pedo meaning children. Philosophy contains two root words, phil meaning love, and soph, which is our next root word, meaning wisdom. Xenophilic means a love of the exotic or things that are from far away. Xeno meaning someone who is far away. For example, in the United States, Hispanics are Xeno. They're from an exotic culture, or Asians are xeno. They're like the word xeno, so they're from far away. So xenophilic means a love of that which is from far away. The next word on our list is the root word soph. See if you can think of some words in English that contain the root word soph. Do that now. All of the following words in English contain the root word soph. Using these words or any other words that you have come up with, try to predict or infer the most likely meaning of the root word soph. Do that now. Soph is a root word that comes to us from Greek, and it means wisdom. To be sophisticated is to basically have the wisdom to know how to act around people. Those who are sophisticated have the wisdom to walk properly, speak properly, and behave properly. Those who are unsophisticated lack that wisdom, and therefore they may have inappropriate behaviors in the social life, such as talking too loud, not using utensils when they eat, making inappropriate noises, and so on. We saw the word philosophy earlier when we looked at our root word phil, so a philosopher is one who has a love for wisdom. Phil meaning love and soph meaning wisdom. A philosopher loves wisdom. Sophology contains two root words, soph meaning wisdom, and logy is usually used as a suffix, meaning the study of. Sophology is the study of wisdom. Those who may, for example, study wisdoms of certain cultures. And this very interesting word here, sophomore, is a word you may end up hearing soon in high school. In high school there are 4 grades, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. A 9th grader is called a freshman, a 10th grader is called a sophomore, a junior and a senior are 11th and 12th graders. In high school, sophomore is basically in the middle. They're no longer a freshman, which is the lowest class, but they're not yet juniors and seniors, which is the highest class. Sophomore contains 2 root words, soph meaning wisdom, and more actually meaning an idiot or stupid, as in the root word moron. Both moron and more contain the same root words. Now, why do we call a sophomore a wise fool? Sophomore, wise fool, or wise idiot? Because while a sophomore may have gained some wisdom, they're still well below the junior or senior status of being fully wise. They're wise fools. The next word on our list is the root word vowel. Try to think of some words in English that contain the root word vowel. Do that now. The words you see here contain the root word vowel. Looking at these words, or any other words you may have come up with, try to predict the most likely meaning of the root word vowel. Do that now. Val is a root word that comes to us from Latin, and it means strength or worth. Valor means just that, strength or worth. Someone who is valiant is someone who is brave, who has strength on the battlefield, such as a valiant warrior. When you give something value, you give something worth. To make it valuable is to make it worthy of being paid for or of being owned, for example. Valedictory is a word you may end up hearing in high school when students are referenced as valedictorians. A valedictory, by definition, is a speech that is presented as a farewell in high school. If you break the word down, valedictory comprises of 2 root words, Vale meaning strength or worth, and dict meaning to write. It basically means to write a worthy speech. And finally, valid basically means to give an argument that has worth. A lot of times you'll hear that this is a valid argument. Valid means it is worthy. It is a worthy argument. To validate an argument is to make it worthy. The next word on our list is the root word voke. Try to think of some words in English that contain the root word voke. Do that now. The words on this list contain the root word voke. Looking at these words or any other words you can think of, try to predict the most likely meaning of the root word voke. Do that now. Voke is a root word that comes to us from Latin, and it means to call or voice. To be vocal is basically to use your voice, is to have a loud voice. If I'm asking you to be more vocal, basically I'm saying use more of your voice. Your vocation is basically the job that you have been destined for, or the career you've been destined for. Your calling, if you will. Some of us may have vocations to become artists, astronauts, lawyers, teachers, and sometimes we end up in careers that are not our vocation. To revoke something is basically to call it back. For example, if you are given something and then it is revoked, it means it is called back from you. You are called back to return it. Your vocabulary is basically the spoken words that you know. Vocabulary are all the words that you can say or use your voice to speak. And something that is irrevocable actually has the word revoke. Something that is irrevocable is something you are not able to call back or to take back. If I say something and I regret it, it is irrevocable. I cannot revoke it. I cannot take the voice back that I've used to say it. The last word on our list from Root Words Unit 4 is the root word prim. Try to think of some words in English that contain the root word prim. Do that now. All of the words you see on this list here contain the root word prim. Looking at these words or any other words you may have come up with, try to interpret or to infer the most likely meaning of the root word prim. Do that now. Prim is a root word that comes to us from Latin, and it means first. Something that is primitive is something that is in its first stages. For example, if you drive a primitive car, it means you drive a car that is from its very earliest stages. To use a rock to, for example, break something instead of a hammer is primitive. Rocks are from our very early stages. We have better tools now to use them. Your primer is the thing that is helping you to begin something. It's basically preparing you. It's the first thing you experience before you begin doing something. For example, children in kindergarten have primers that introduce them to the alphabet. For example, an ABC book is a primer. Your primary reason is your first reason. Something primary is something that is the first thing you use to do. A primate is actually, in many cases now, is used to describe monkeys. Why we call them primates is because, according to evolutionary biology, monkeys have the origins of the human being. So when we say primates, primates are basically our first ancestors from as far back as hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And primeval is something that is from the very, very beginning. We believe that life began in a primeval soup. Primeval soup basically means a primeval pond where life first began. The very, very beginning. This concludes our Unit 4 of Root Words. Thanks for watching.